Excel Mfondini, we are at Eastern Cape in November 2023 doing topography associated with horizontally layered rock. So now they say refer to the sketch on topography associated with horizontally layered rocks. Remember, the topography that is associated with horizontal layered rocks, we have got certain landscapes such as the plateau, we have got the canyon landscape as well as the Karoo landscapes, and as well as just hilly landscapes which are not that much significant. So the topography associated with horizontal layered rock just consists of those. In this particular case, we can see that this is a Karoo landscapes because you can see features of a Karoo landscapes such as the plateau, such as the mesa, such as the butte. So whenever you see such features, as well as the conical hill, I don't know if there's a conical hill, but basically whenever you have got plateau, you've got butte, you've got mesa, you know that this is a Karoo landscape. I've made videos on canyon, Karoo, as well as a plateau. 2.3.1 says comment on the height. Comment on the what? On the height of the topography evident in the sketch. When we're talking about topography, we're talking basically about the landforms that we have. In this case, the landforms that we have is the plateau, the mesa, and the butte. Basically, we've got a plateau here, we have got a butte here, we've got a mesa here. So what do you realize about their height? They've got the same height. Basically, they are actually at the same height. They are how high they are is the same. Basically, their high is actually the same. Yeah, so they've got the same height. So if they say comment on the height, is only 1 mark. You don't have to explain anything. You tell them about the height of the topography or the landforms in a Karoo landscape. You say that the height is the same. So they've got the same height. Now, what actually causes this to have the same height? It is actually a resistant caprock. So remember, in that video, I explained that mesas, buttes, as well as plateaus, all of them, they come from a plateau. So a plateau becomes a mesa, and then a mesa becomes a butte through a backwesting or scarp retreat. Okay, so basically, let's just say we have a mesa here. A mesa would have a what? Would have a resistant rock on top. So this resistant rock, they usually say is a resistant cap rock. So this cap rock just means that it's a more like a capis. You're wearing a capis. Yeah, it's a rock that is on top of the landform. So it has got a resistant cap rock on top of it, and then this is your mesa here. So similarly here, you can see that in our diagram here, we have got a resistant cap rock. And when we're talking about a resistant cap rock, we're talking about the rock that we are finding on top of the landforms. This rock here, you can see that it is well drawn here to show that this rock is a resistant rock, this rock that is found on top. So this rock is resistant in such a way that it is not actually reduced. Its height is never reduced. So if they say provide an evidence for this a same height, you say that there's a what? There's a resistant cap rock. There's a resistant cap rock. So basically, the fact that there's a resistant cap rock, whenever, let's just say this is a mesa. Remember, a mesa, when it goes through scarp retreat or backwesting, it is actually reduced to being a butte. So how does it become a butte? Scarp retreat or backwesting basically happens sideways. So it just means that its sides are eroded. So it can happen that weathering and everything occurs, and then its sides are eroded to this size, something like this. So its sides will be eroded. Its sides will be eroded. And when the sides are eroded, you realize that will remain with a smaller butte, but the butte will still have the resistant cap rock, and the height will never change. Okay, the height of the Karoo landscapes or the Karoo landforms, the topography in the Karoo landscapes, it remains the same. It is because of this resistant cap rock. It can never change its position. So whenever a plateau changes to a mesa changes to a butte, it is through the process of scarp retreat, which just erodes the sides. Okay, the mesa sides were eroded to remain with a what? With a smaller butte. So that is the reason why we say that we end up having a same height, given that we have a resistant cap rock. Now let's look at 2.3.3. the topography above is uniformly or non-uniformly resistant to erosion. Now they ask, are the landforms uniformly resistant? When you say that they're uniformly resistant, it just means that they've got the same resistance to erosion. In this particular case, this cannot be true because we know that for the Karoo landscapes, the top rock, we say it's a resistant cap rock, but the layers that are found underneath the resistant cap rocks, they can easily be eroded away. So we have got less resistant rock underneath the what? The resistant cap rock. So we've got less resistant, usually sedimentary rock. So the topography cannot have uniform resistance to erosion because on top we have got a resistant one, a strong rock that is not easily eroded away by factors such as the wind and water. And then underneath that strong rock, we have got what? We have got the less resistant rock, the one that forms gentle slopes when it's eroded. Okay, so the answer here will be not uniform or non-uniform. In this case, they say not uniformly, so we'll write that. This is not uniformly. This just simply means that there is a difference between the strength of the rocks and how easily they can be eroded. The top rock or the cap rock, it is strong enough, it is resistant, and then the lower rocks underneath the resistant cap rock, they are less resistant. So it cannot be a uniform resistance. And then 2.3.4, how do canyons form? So there are a lot of things that you can say. I've already introduced this in my video introducing geomorphology. There are many points that you can mention here. Remember, a canyon forms from a plateau. So at first we have got a plateau, a very big plateau. Remember, a plateau is just a very big landform. And then this is your plateau here. So for a canyon to form, we need to have what? We need to have a river that cuts through the plateau, and then it will form a canyon. From this particular diagram, you can see that this is a plateau. This was part of the plateau, but then it has been cut out. So this will become a what? A canyon. So it means that there's a river in between these two landforms. So this was one big plateau. This was one big rock, but it was separated because a river carved through. So here you just need at least 2 points, but I'll give you as many as I can. So first of all, the canyons form. You can first say that the canyons form on landforms with non-uniform resistance to erosion. Non-uniform resistance to erosion. So this means that the canyon landscapes, they form on the rocks whose resistances is not the same. We just discussed this in 2.3.3, saying that the topography does not have uniform resistance. Some rock layers are easy to erode, the other ones are not easy to erode. So that is where canyons form. The canyons can only form if there is a non-uniform resistance to erosion, or if the rocks are not having the same ability to resist erosion. Right. I think that is a very fancy English from me. So here, what actually happens? Remember, the canyons, basically we have got rivers, and then we've got rivers. Those rivers are cutting down, or they are cutting through. So we have got rivers that cut through the rocks. So here we have got rivers. So we have got rivers here. So those rivers, what do? They cut through, or you can say they incise. They incise or they cut through the weak layers. They cut through the less resistant rock. So they cut through the less resistant rock. So basically here, because we have got non-uniform resistance to erosion, or because some of the layers are strong and able to resist erosion, others are weak and they're not able to resist erosion, the rivers take advantage of those weak ones. So the rivers will do what? They will cut through. They will do what? They will cut through the weak rock, the less resistant rock. And when they cut through the less resistant rock, we are still in the process of what? Of forming a canyon. The other thing you can say that now when the rivers erode when the rivers erode the resistant rock, we will form steep cliffs. So you say that steep slopes are formed. So steep slopes are what? They are formed by erosion of resistant rock. Erosion of resistant rock. So the rock that is resistant to erosion, the more resistant rock, the one that is not easily eroded, when it is eroded, it will form steep slopes. So erosion, steep slopes will be formed by erosion of the resistant rocks. That's another 2 marks. All of these points I'm giving you are going to give you 2 marks each. And then what if the rivers will erode the weak rock? The weak rock will form gentle slopes. So here you can say that gentle slopes. You can mention also that the gentle slopes are formed. So gentle slopes, they are formed when, or you can say by the erosion of the weak rock or the soft rock. You can say resistant rock, or you can say here soft rock. Okay, or you can say less resistant rock. So basically, these are the points that you can mention for how a canyon forms. Whenever you can take any 2 of them here. Okay, there are many. You can mention as many as you want, but at least try to mention that the rivers are the ones that are cutting through the less resistant rock. The steep slopes will be formed by this hard rock, and then gentle slopes will be formed by the weaker rock. Just basically that. That's how canyons form. And then what about 2.3.5? 2.3.5 says, explain how the elements of the Karoo landscapes evident in the sketch will form from a canyon landscape. Listen carefully to the question. They say, explain. They want you to give an explanation of how the elements of a Karoo landscape. What are elements of a Karoo landscape? They are the same thing as the topography of the Karoo landscape. We are talking about the plateau, the mesa, and the butte. So they want to know, how does the mesa, the butte, and the conical hill and all those form from a what? From a canyon landscape. Okay, so they want to know, how do they form from a canyon landscape. So remember, a canyon landscape is nothing but just a plateau that has got a river cutting through it. So you have to start at the plateau, because the idea is we start at the plateau, and then the plateau will be back-wasted to form a mesa will be back-wasted to form a butte. So basically, how do you explain that? You say first the mesas, you start with the mesas that are formed. So you can say that your mesas are formed when, or you can say by back-wasting plateaus, when plateaus are back-wasted. Back-wasting just means scarp retreat. Okay, scarp retreat. So it just means that the sides are being eroded. So when we have got a plateau, a big plateau with a resistant cap rock on top, and then we have got erosion that happens sideways, such that we cut the sides of this plateau, we will remain with a smaller landform, and that smaller landform will be a mesa. So the mesa will form due to plateaus that are being back-wasted, or you can say that there's scarp retreat happening on those plateaus. And then furthermore, you move from mesas. Remember that the mesas will form buttes. So from mesas, you go to buttes. So you go ahead and say buttes. Buttes are formed when mesas are also back-wasted. The process whereby a mesa, the one that we have had right now, changes to being a butte is still back-wasting. So it can happen that this mesa here that we have, it will be cut again. Its sides will be eroded. All of this material will be eroded away, and then all of these sides, they will be eroded away, and it will leave a smaller portion. And that smaller portion that is coming from a mesa, this smaller portion that remains from a mesa, is a butte. So here we have got buttes that are resulting from what? That is resulting from from back wasting as well. So all of it's all about reducing the size. So first we reduce the size of a plateau by scarp retreat or by back wasting. Just means that we are eroding the sides without affecting the height. Remember, the height remains the same, but we are eroding the what? The sides. That's back wasting. So the mesas are formed when plateaus are back wasted or they are scarp retreated. And then the buttes will be formed when those mesas will be back wasted as well. So that is how the elements of a canyon landscapes are formed. You don't have to explain how a plateau forms. You have to explain from the plateau, because remember that a canyon is just a plateau that has got a river through it. So you start saying from plateaus will form mesas when they are back-wasted. Mesas will form buttes when they're back-wasted. Do not proceed to the conical hills, but basically you can go ahead and do that. But as long as you explain how the elements or the landforms of a Karoo landscapes are formed as evident in the sketch. Okay, as evident in the sketch. So you're supposed to only mention the formation of a mesa and a butte, because from this sketch you don't have a conical hill. All right. So do not mention the conical hill at all. It won't give you marks. Then 2.3.6. How can the topography in the sketch associated with horizontally layered rocks be utilized economically by people? How can we use it to benefit our economy? You can see that these landscapes are beautiful. These are beautiful mountains and they've got rivers within them. Okay, we have got, for example, the Grand Canyon that is found in Colorado, where I was yesterday in my aeroplane flying there and looking at the beautiful landscape. It was so beautiful. I was doing a lot of tourism because I've got a lot of money and stuff. But never mind that, we're not there. We are here in Eastern Cape, of course. Since it's an Eastern Cape paper, we are basically saying that the topography or the Karoo landscapes or these shapes that we are finding from Karoo landscapes, they can be used for tourism. That's what I'm trying to emphasize using this Colorado joke of mine. So basically, we have got tourism. So they are tourist attraction. Where's my pen? Okay, so they are tourist attraction. So the last question, you can say that Karoo landscapes, the Karoo landscapes can be used to attract tourists. So we want to attract people to come and see our beautiful Karoo landscapes. So we can attract people, okay, to attract tourists, to attract tourists. So the Karoo landscapes, they can be used to attract tourists because they are very beautiful and only people like us who have money can go to see them, and probably you in the next future. And then the other thing, you can also use them to generate hydroelectricity. Although it is hard to get water from a Karoo landscape, but at the end of the day, they have got water because we have said that there are rivers that incise throughout there. So we can try to generate hydroelectricity. We can generate electricity from water. You know that, right? So we can also say that they are used for generation of electricity. Generation of electricity. Hydroelectricity njalo. You have to mention that it's a hydroelectricity, the electricity that is generated from moving water. Okay, so farming is commonly something that cannot happen on the Karoo landscapes because they are dry. Okay, they are dry, there is no soil, so you cannot do farming. Okay, in realistic terms, I don't know if anyone has ever told you that, maybe your teacher, but it's fine. You cannot do farming in such landscapes. They are dry unless your cows like to eat dust or something like that, which is next to impossible. So basically, the canyons, they can be used for that, even for recreational activities such as hiking. You know, mountains, people go to hike in mountains. So you can do many recreational activities. All of those activities, they benefit our economy basically. When people come from USA to see the Kruger National Park in Nelspruit, they actually benefit the economy of the great Mpumalanga. So basically, recreational activities can be done on Karoo landscapes. Recreational activities such as, you can give an examples, and I like hiking the most. So if you go and do hiking, or you can do maybe bungee jumping. I don't know if you know this, but I once did bungee jumping in Johannesburg. So basically, there are recreational activities that you can do on mountainous places. Okay, so there are many things that you can do, and those can actually help generate income for the economy. So this is just an activity, ladies and gentlemen, for our Karoo Landscapes. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends to stay tuned. Eastern Cape.